And we are live. Welcome to the BS3 Sports Show. I am your host, Tyon Mack. I got Will and Eric with me. How y'all brothers doing today?
Doing good.
Doing good, man. Doing well.
All right, man. We don't have Mr. BS3 himself here today. We'll see him next week, but we're going to hold it down for him and keep it rolling as usual. So, today we're going to first start off with discussing the NFL. We had a great week of football, week 11. We're going to catch up. We're going to start off first with Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. So Cincinnati Bengals took on the Washington, no namers,
Yeah,
the Washington
the Washington
football team.
Football Club, right?
Yesterday lost 20-9, but it ain't even a game that is important. It's the loss to Joe Burrow. Will, you want to go ahead and just touch on that real quick? Alpha knocked out of the game. Um, how's it looking, etc.
Man, it looks bad, with him being gone. That really was all they had on that team. And he was playing well despite being behind a garbage offensive line. He was playing well for, number one overall pick. Prayers go out to that brother, man. Three, was it the ACL, the MCL, and man, almost a total knee reconstruction that he's got to do. So, and rehab. It's just a tough loss for the Cincinnati Bengals. They're not a good team anyway, but at least he was getting some reps in, and trying to get moved towards the future. So it's a tough loss for them. I hate to see it. I do.
Yeah, man, definitely. It was a. Y'all saw that hit. As soon as he went down, it looked bad, bad. It looked real bad. Eric, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, like we was saying, he was finally starting to get his reps in. He was looking a little better. AJ Green had came back and gave him a number one target to throw to. So it looked like that they were in the right direction. But unfortunately, injuries do happen. Hopefully, he comes back. His injury it looked pretty bad. It looked almost as bad as Dak's. Not quite, but
Yeah.
similar.
Yeah, man. I saw it and the first thing I thought was, man, this ain't going good. And the Bengals got some of the worst luck in NFL, man. Just terrible luck from records to just players being there, etc. It looked like they finally hit the jackpot on a quarterback, the franchise quarterback, the quarterback of the future for them. He goes down, and to be honest, I don't see him back next year. I don't initially see him back next year with the way that it went down. I believe it was ACL, MCL, and some structural damage in that knee. Um, I'm not sure. I was trying to find out. I'm not sure if that's the same knee he had surgery on in college because he had an injury in college at Ohio State that knocked him out, which ended up leading to Dwayne Haskins taking over and him going to LSU. Hopefully he gets better. But right now, the Bengals had a good one. It's not good no more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
um,
Well, I was just thinking on the bright side, though, when Matt Stafford got drafted to the Lions, he had some similar luck with some injuries early in his career. And then he wound up going 9 straight years without missing a start up until last year when he had that back injury. So hopefully this will just be, every so often sort of situation and he won't be injury plagued.
Yeah, hopefully. Like I said, hopefully he comes back. His knee is stronger than ever. He throws a beautiful ball, has a beautiful touch, and really, he was arguably he was going to be the rookie of the year for the NFL. Probably the offensive rookie of the year, for surely. So yeah, we definitely want to see him back. We want to see players like that in the league. Those are the guys that make the league exciting. He's coming out and he's throwing 300 yards against Pittsburgh, and so he's going toe to toe with other elite quarterbacks. Even though they're losing, but he's out there and he's playing really well. So get better. We'll see you in a year, hopefully next year. But like I said, to be realistic, I think maybe we might see him in 2 years. So,
Mm,
um,
mm.
but on that same note, we had to watch. Like I said, we had the Washington football team win to go to 3-7, and I believe they're like in a two-way tie. they're in a tie in their division right now with the Dallas Cowboys, um, the New York Giants, and and the New York Giants. And the team who is leading that division now at 3-6 with one tie is the Philadelphia Eagles. Man, this division is going to put some absolute trash in the playoffs.
Well, I have to watch my mouth. Like I told you earlier, I cannot say anything bad about the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, I can.
Well, let's go to you, Will. Let's start off with you, Will. Who do you think is going to win this division?
Well,
and why?
I'll tell you. Since my girlfriend is in the room, I'm going to say the Dallas Cowboys. But then when she leaves, I'll tell you the truth.
Smart man. Very smart.
No, I think that the Dallas Cowboys honestly can win it, and here's why. They need to reset how their game plan is. I don't think they're utilizing Zeke enough. You got one of the best running backs in the NFL. They're not really throwing like screen passes. They're not doing anything to get him into open space. He's one of the best. It's one of the best like complete players in the league. He's an every down back, so you don't have to like take him out on like third down in short situations. I think they need to reintegrate their offense so they can get their best weapon involved. They've got Andy Dalton. You know, he's a decent quarterback. This is the reason why they got him. You know, he's an experienced player. You know, he's got playoff experience. So I think if they tweak their game plan a little bit, I think that the Cowboys honestly can sneak in.
Now, question is, do the Cowboys really want to get in the playoffs? I mean, when you look at all the stuff that's happening with the Cowboys, I mean, they've had all the injuries on the offensive line. I mean, I think they've lost everybody on the offensive line for the most part. You lost Dak for the year. He's due a huge contract, you know, upwards of probably $35 million a season, maybe even more. And I think his value is showing because Dallas is playing so poorly and looking so bad. And that defense just looks terrible. Do you want to get in the playoffs, or are you looking for a top 3 pick per se? Will, what are your thoughts?
Man, them players want to get in the playoff. It's called a playoff check, bro. They want the playoff check. They ain't not worried about no draft picks. There's not a player in the NFL or the NBA, Major League Baseball, or any organization or any league that's looking forward to draft picks because they think about the here and now. So all 4 of those teams that's full of 53 players and 15 practice players, they're looking to get into the playoffs. That's what that's about. So the Cowboys players want to get in the playoffs. The organization may be looking at draft picks, but the players want to get in there. If you ask me which team can make it, who cares? They're losing the first game anyway. Doesn't matter which one of those garbage teams get in there. And I'm sorry, you know, if your girl's a Cowboy fan, but those teams are garbage. They all are. So it's not going to matter, man. I mean, it's really one of these situations where you look at it and you say to yourself, why don't they change the rules and say, listen, even though you won your division, because that is the criteria to get in the playoffs, you can't have a home playoff game if you're under 500. That should be something they should look into, because it's just not fair for a team to go 10-6 or 11-5 or 12-4 and have to go play on the road against a 6-10 team, which is more than likely going to be the winner of that division. 6-10. We're talking 6-10. That's ridiculous, man. I mean, but that's the way the NFL has it, and so the best of the trash, or that someone just put the NFC least. One of these teams, one of those teams got to win, but I don't know, man. I couldn't even give you a prediction. The Eagles have injuries. The Cowboys have injuries. The Giants have Danny Dimes. And you never know what you're going to get with him. And Washington, who cares?
Yeah, Washington. We don't even know what's going on in Washington. Nobody knows what's going on in Washington.
No.
You know. But yeah, it's a good point. You pointed out these players still want to make the playoffs. Ownership probably be thinking about picks. You know, I started thinking about, ownership in regards to the Cowboys. Like I said, with all the issues that they have, offensive line, secondary, their defense looking bad, and possibly having a top 3 pick to possibly replace. And, I said this maybe weeks and weeks ago. You don't want to pay Dak. You mess around to get a top 2 or 3 pick. You get one of these top quarterbacks in the draft, such as Trevor Lawrence and or Fields. Do you end up re-signing Dak, or do you just blow it up and start all over? Maybe move Zeke to see if you can get something for him. Eric, you pointed out them using Zeke more. Zeke just hasn't looked well this year. I don't know what it is. age, maybe injuries. I don't know. But he just doesn't look like the Zeke that came into the league where we was like, oh my God, he's going to be the best running back in this league for some years now. He just regressed really, really quickly. He's not hitting the hole fast. He's getting caught in the backfield. He's had some fumbling issues this season. And he's just not looking good, man. So I'm wondering if Jerry Jones is looking back at this team right now, just like, you know what, I'm just going to hit a hard restart with everything that's happened and just, try again next year, or try again in a few years. We thought this team, like I said, I thought this team was built to be a playoff team. A couple years ago, they solidified that old line. They started getting the pieces, and it just crumbled quick. So
you know what? With Zeke had a lot of stuff going on before the season started. Court issues, then COVID-19. And then, of course, he was real tight with Dak, and then the injuries that happened there, and just all of the circus that is the Dallas Cowboys. So mentally, you know what? I don't think that we can take COVID-19 lightly. We can't take that out of the equation on how this is handling these folks mentally. They're having to go through all of this COVID protocol. They really can't be with their family, their loved ones. So I really do think that this is having more of an effect on players in any league than anybody is letting on. So I thought that the Cowboys were going to win their division had they not had the injury to Dak. I think they could have overcame any injury but to Prescott. And once he got hurt, you just kind of saw the air just left the room. So hopefully they will be in good shape in 2021.
Yeah, pretty much. All right. Moving on. We're going to go to the game last night. I thought was one of the good games. AFC West matchup. Kansas City Chiefs and the Las Vegas Raiders went down to the wire. Chiefs pulled it out, I believe, 35-31. I'm sure you watched the game. It was prime time. And the Raiders actually beat them earlier this season. So, Kansas City had this game circled. What is your assessment of the Raiders? What do you think about the Raiders right now after watching that game?
The Raiders got bad clock management. They should have ate the clock up a little bit more. No, seriously, that's why they lost that game, because they left too much time on the clock for Mahomes and company to go down the field. That's the only thing. But other than that, the Raiders are a legit team. They're the only team in the AFC or maybe the NFL that figured out, you know what, you got to score points to beat Kansas City. Forget this building the defense to try to run with those wide receivers, and nobody can cover Kelsey one-on-one. It just hasn't. I haven't seen it yet. So the Raiders are the team that seemed like they figured it out. John Gruden figured it out. If I can score with them and then control the clock so I can limit their possessions and I'm scoring touchdowns, yeah, that's a great formula to beat them. That's what the Patriots did a couple of years ago to beat them. That's what Houston was on their way to do. And all of a sudden, I don't know what happened with O'Brien and Watson and those guys, and they blew a 24-point lead. And San Francisco was doing it in the Super Bowl. You've got to keep that offense on the sideline. That's the way you beat them. And the Raiders have the ability to do that. They're not I guess you could say a juggernaut on defense, but they're decent on defense. But when you let a guy go 75 yards in a minute and 15 seconds, man, he's just good. He's the best quarterback in the league. That's all you can say. And they used the middle of the field to go down the field. If you watch that last drive, they used the middle of the field. It was like ridiculous. And then on the last play, where were the rushers going? Where were the pass rush going? I mean, they just all ran past him. He stepped up and said, "Oh, Kelsey's open." So I don't know, man. Kansas City's a tough team, but they can be beat if you can control that clock. And that's what the Raiders did last night. It's just they left too much time.
Yeah, to point that out, Mahomes this season completing 67% of his passes, or 68% of his passes, 3,035 yards, 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. They don't turn over the ball, right? They, as you stated, once that offense is on the field, it's typically scored. It's typically scored, and the Raiders look like they were able to match them score for score. Left too much time. Mahomes and Mahomes magic happened, right? As usual. I read something a couple weeks ago where it talked about Mahomes in the red zone and during that 2-minute time, he does not turn over the ball. It doesn't happen. It's like literally it's only happened one time his entire career. Right? This dude just like when the lights get bright, man, he is on. He is on. So Eric, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts about the game?
That was a great game. That was a best game. Well, you know what? It's a toss-up between that being the best game and then when the Titans wind up winning in overtime. So it was kind of a toss-up, but you know what? Mahomes, he's only in his third year. And that's the crazy and the scary part about it is that this guy is only in his third year. And already, I thought that he was an Aaron Rodgers clone. I don't even know where they got this guy from.
Yeah.
The way that he can pass, you know, the way he reads defenses, he doesn't panic. And that's very rare that you see a high caliber athlete at that young of age who doesn't panic in the big moments. He's already got a Super Bowl ring. I mean, we could be looking at somebody who may catch Brady in terms of the amount of Super Bowls that he wins if he stays healthy.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, you know, to piggyback off of that a little bit. I mean, I remember when Aaron Rodgers first hit the league. You know, he sat for some years, of course, in Green Bay. But once he started, we were looking like, yo, this is the future right here. Like, this is what quarterback's gonna have to look like now, because man, we ain't seen a guy who was mobile with the arm, the accuracy, all those different elements. And now you got Mahomes, and we're kind of saying that again now. Like, yo, we ain't seen this guy before. You know, like the closest guy we have seen to him is Rodgers. I mean, this dude, like I said, his poise, his ability to throw the ball. You know, I mean, the dude is always smiling. He looks like he's never, ever flustered throughout the entire game, no matter how bad the game is, you know, going. You know, going back to the Super Bowl against the Niners. I mean, he's sitting there smiling. They're down. And he's like, yeah, we'll be fine. You know, like, I mean, this dude just has it, you know, and all the arm talent and the ability to move, right? So this dude he's the truth. He's definitely the truth. How far do you guys see KC going? Do y'all see KC being repeating? I mean, because right now, you know, they're 9-1. They don't even have the best record in the league. Pittsburgh does. What do you guys think?
You know what?
They're better than Pittsburgh. They're better than Pittsburgh.
Okay, hold on. Spotlight. What's making you take them over Pittsburgh?
I don't like Pittsburgh's offense. I'm not a fan of Pittsburgh's offense, and I know they got the pass rush with Dupree and Wyatt. I like Fitzpatrick in the back. They're okay and on the defensive side of the ball, but they're susceptible to the run. As far as the offensive side of the ball, I know they got the receivers. I know Ben is back there, but Pittsburgh can't score with KC, man. I don't see it. That's just what I see.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I mean, Claypool. Let's go to Eric. You know, Claypool is showing out in Pittsburgh. He looks like, you know, I think he's 10 games, 10 touchdowns so far. He's been balling. Again, Pittsburgh's 10-0 right now. They're still undefeated. Are you taking Pittsburgh over KC or?
I'm taking Pittsburgh right now until they show me different. I understand, you know, that Will doesn't exactly like Pittsburgh, and that's fine. We're not even going to get into the why he doesn't like Pittsburgh, but
I got reasons.
I know you got your reasons. But, Pittsburgh looks great on both sides of the ball. Offense, defense, and special teams, they're balanced. So you do make up a very good point that, yeah, it's going to be hard to stop Mahomes, but I don't think you're going to stop him, but you can slow him down. He's a Super Bowl winning coach, same as Andy Reid. He's seen just about everything. And then you have to realize that, you know, Tomlin is still a young guy. You know, he got his coaching job until his early 30s. He's never had a losing record. So Tomlin's the type of coach, a lot like Andy Reid, is that he's already preparing for Kansas City in the playoffs. Now, he's going to be prepping for everybody else, but he's already got a mental picture of what he needs to do. The best way to slow Mahomes down, to be honest, is that you can't just send a 4-line rush at Mahomes. You have to move him out of the pocket. You have to get in his line of sight. So you're going to have to do zone blitzing. You're going to have to double cover Kelsey, and you're just going to have to pray that Tyreek Hill don't get behind you. But you need to slow. You need to slow one of those two guys down. You're not going to be able to do both, but you need to commit to taking one guy out of the equation, and you got to commit to harassing Mahomes. You got to knock that smile off of his face. You got to somehow get him flustered. But like you're right, if I'm playing loosey goosey, yeah, game's going to be easy. But Short answer, I'm thinking Pittsburgh in the Super Bowl coming out of the AFC.
Nice. Okay. See, and see, I'm right now. I'm kind of like conflicted, right? Because as Will pointed out, man, that KC offense is so dominant, man. It is dominant, and when you got a guy like Mahomes running that offense, man, and he can keep you in any game, it's hard to pick them. It's hard to pick. It's hard to pick against them. And then when you look at Pittsburgh, I think Pittsburgh's strength is their defense, right? Their defense has been amazing this year. They added Minka. They got him in the trade last year. He's been balling out for them. That defense looks really good. But it comes down to, if them two play, can Pittsburgh's defense, stop them from scoring? I don't know. Like I said, we've seen teams try it. The Niners tried it. The Texans tried it last year. I mean, we've seen it. And that offense, once it gets rolling, it is over. It is over. It's a race. It's a race. It's almost like playing with the 2001 Rams. You know what I'm saying? When they were just scoring just every play. It seemed like they were just scoring. That's what it reminds me of so much. And you got to figure out a way to either slow that offense down and or keep up with it. I don't think you can slow it down. You got to figure out how to keep up with it. And as you pointed out, that Pittsburgh offense isn't the best offense. It looks good, though. Like I said, Claypool has been a bright spot for them. Looks like probably the best receiver on that team because what's his name ain't really showed up this season. He ain't showed up since Antonio Brown left. He ain't really showed up. But again, we got games to play. It says week 10 it's week 11. And we still got some more games to play, of course. But right now, you take KC as a strength in the AC. Eric's taking Pittsburgh. I'm gonna say it's a toss-up. Whichever one falls. I can't pick.
Okay, so you really don't have a horse in the game.
I don't have no horse in the game, man. I don't know who to pick, man. It is a hard call. Like I said, I kind of lean more toward KC. I'm gonna lean more toward Will. There you go. I'm leaning more toward Will with KC.
You know how hard it is to repeat in the NFL?
Extremely hard. Extremely hard.
And that is the number one reason why I'm going with Pittsburgh. Now, I would love to see a repeat Super Bowl champion. I don't think I've seen I don't think I've seen a repeat Super Bowl champion probably in the last 20 years.
Last one was the Patriots?
Was it the Patriots?
Yes.
Right, 2002, 2003?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Man, you think about it, yeah. Been a long time.
It has, and maybe KC is that team, but I'm gonna have to see.
I would if I was a team that had the ability to run the ball like Tennessee, I would make sure my drive's at least 8-9 minutes. That's the way to beat them. You got to keep those guys on the sideline. You got to do what the Patriots did to them a couple of years ago. You got to control the clock and control the ball. That's the way you beat them.
And since you mentioned Tennessee, let's bring up Tennessee and Baltimore yesterday. Tennessee wins in overtime, 30-24 on the back of Derrick Henry, right? 133 yards. You pointed out Tennessee. Is Tennessee a team that has a realistic Super Bowl chance? Will.
Yeah, they give the ball to Derrick Henry and stop messing around like they did for the first 3 quarters of that game. He only had 44 yards through the up to the third quarter, and then in the fourth quarter in overtime, he ran for 89 yards. So they got to if they realize he's the best player on their team. And I understand teams are stacking the box, but you do what you did when you made your postseason run last season. And I'm sure Vrabel knows this. Run the play action, because Ryan Tannehill used to be a Miami Dolphins quarterback. I still got bitterness towards him. I'm just going to go ahead and put that out there. You make any quarterback look great when all they're reading is man-to-man coverage. And because Derrick Henry is so good and their offensive line is so dominant, teams are dropping guys and dropping that safety in the box. So that leaves man-to-man coverage with that kid, A.J. Brown, who was a beast yesterday in the fourth quarter. I mean, that pass he caught short and just ran over a couple of Ravens was just ridiculous. So they have the formula to beat Kansas City. They don't have the defense necessarily to beat Kansas City, but they have the formula, because you got to control the ball against that team. And in that game yesterday, the Ravens ought to be ashamed of themselves, because they were leading that ball game. They were winning that ball game. And basically, Tennessee just kept chopping at the lead. And finally, they caught them, and then they overtook them in overtime. And that last touchdown run it told me the Ravens looked like they wanted no part of Derrick Henry. They had got tired of trying to tackle him. They just got tired. They said, "That's it. Go ahead and score so we can get out of here and hit the hot tub." Because I've never seen guys dive at a guy unless it was in a movie. That looked like something that they, you know what I'm saying? Like it was choreographed in the movie the way guys were diving at him. It was just ridiculous. So, yeah, Tennessee has a chance. I'm not going to, any team that runs the ball well, you have a chance in this NFL or in the NFL or any level of football, period. Yeah.
All right, cool. And you're right, man. You know, you pointed out, you know, running that play action, being true to what makes them a really good team. Tannehill in the play action, right? When that play action is hidden, you know, AJ Brown, Corey Davis, they become really, really good targets out there. They can make some plays. Corey Davis had 5 catches for 113 yards. AJ Brown, 4 catches, 62 yards and a touchdown. He had a monster catch where he just ran over somebody. So, you know, it looks like when Tennessee is playing like that and they're really focused in on running the ball, they are an extremely hard team to beat. They're an extremely hard team to beat. Eric, what's going on with the Ravens? What's going on with the Ravens? They, you know, they're now as 6-4. You know, this is a team. Lamar Jackson coming off an MVP season. What's happening? It doesn't seem like they've gotten better. It seems like they've regressed. Was last year just an anomaly for them? Was it they caught people off guard, or what are your thoughts on that?
I think it was a combination of both. But if you look at the way that the game plan was stacked, you know, Lamar Jackson is not a classic drop back passer. And that's what he's been doing more of this year instead of moving the pocket, you know, forcing the defense to come to him, throwing people open from like 10 to 15 yards and then letting his playmakers work. They're not playing like that anymore. They're thinking that Lamar Jackson is Tom Brady now. You don't see him running. You don't see him creating plays. You don't see him taking a busted play and turn it into a big game like he did last year. They've gotten away to that. They need to go take a look back at their tapes from 2019, and they need to game plan like that. That's what I think the problem is. They forgot who they are.
I was about to say, now, is that an offensive coordinator issue? You know, Mark Roman is the offensive coordinator. He was the offensive coordinator for Colin Kaepernick when he was at the 49ers. And almost similarly, this is a very, very similar offense, right? So we saw, you know, after that year they made the Super Bowl, Kaepernick was doing more drop back stuff, and it just wasn't working. Is this the same issue that we have here, or is it defenses are catching up, or what do you think it is? Is it a combination of both, or
it's a combination of both? But if you look at Patrick Mahomes, defenses are caught up to what he's doing, but he's staying within himself. I don't think that Lamar Jackson added anything to his game. If he wanted to be more of a pocket passer, I don't really see where he's put the work in there, where he's worked on that. So the game came so easy to him last year. I'm thinking he's probably thinking, well, you know what? They can't stop me. But you had a whole offseason to prepare for Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. But ultimately, it's on Coach Harbaugh. He's the head coach, and he's a smart guy. He's a Super Bowl winning coach. So he needs to go back and he needs to reevaluate his game plan, and he needs to play to Lamar's strengths. Lamar's a great talent. Don't get me wrong. He's almost as good as Patrick Mahomes. But you know what? You got to game plan better. You know, like Will was saying, you need to just, whatever it is that you're doing, you just need to take it and you just need to run that game plan down their throat. They're not. Did
you guys watch that game yesterday? Watch any part of that game yesterday?
Yeah, I watched pieces of it. I couldn't watch all of it.
Like the first 2 quarters I watched.
Yeah. Did you see? Did you guys see the beginning of overtime at the coin flip? Or,
yeah.
Did you see Tennessee stump on their midfield logo?
Mm-hmm.
That's what's wrong with the Ravens, right there. Because I don't care what level of sport you play. I don't care if you're playing basketball, if you're playing baseball, you're playing soccer, you're playing football. A team does not get to stump on your logo. They don't get to do that, period. And to see professionals allow that to happen, something ain't right. It's the same thing when Bostic knocked out Andy Dalton and the Cowboys didn't come to his rescue. It's the same thing. There's a certain code in sports that you cannot violate. And a team stomping on when Terrell Owens tried to drop the ball on the star, Roy Williams chased him down from the end zone and nearly knocked him to the other end zone. That is how sacred that is. And to see Tennessee all gassed up, dancing, celebrating on that logo, and the Ravens, their coach is the one that's getting mad. Something ain't right with the something's not right with that team. Something's
They don't
not.
got that edge.
They ain't got that edge. And the funny thing about it is the Ravens, we're used to being bullies. They're the bullies. Even when they replaced Ray Lewis with C.J. Mosley and they had the Suggs and they had all those guys and Ed Reed and all those guys, we're used to the Ravens being bullies. And this is twice they played the Titans and the Titans have bullied them. And that tells me that the bully don't want to get hit in the mouth. That's what it is.
Yeah.
They don't want to get hit in the mouth, and they got hit in the mouth late in that fourth quarter and in the overtime. So I think their problem is their ticker. You know what I'm saying? I think they gotta look internally. All that scheming stuff, yeah, they have the same personnel, don't they? They have the same. They still got them 2 tight ends. The only guy they missed Mark Ingram, but all right, Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins are back there. So the thing they got to do is the scheme. But yeah, the players got to look internally, and you are correct. Lamar Jackson refuses to throw from the pocket on an accurate and with consistency and accuracy. That is the main difference with him. And teams are just saying we are not letting him out the pocket, and he's getting out, but he's just not getting out like he was last year.
And for me, I always feel like every play that they run for Lamar Jackson, if it's not a run play or a run play option, it's always a deep route. And I'm like, where are the intermediate routes at? You know what I'm saying? Where are the short comeback route? Where are things like that would help a young quarterback? They got rid of one of his tight ends. I think Hurst went to was it Atlanta, I believe. So one of the tight ends cut. And that was a weapon, as you saw last year. He threw to both tight ends a lot. I think one tight end had 1,000 yards, the other one had 800 yards. Right.
Right.
He hasn't developed that rapport with his receivers yet. He hasn't been able to throw to the outside for some reason. And I'm wondering if that's because simply they don't give the receivers routes to the inside. They're not giving them intermediate routes. It's all go routes. Hollywood Brown is running on a go route almost every route. Like it's either a deep post or a go route. Make the game a little easier for him. Switch it up. And allow him to work the middle of the field, allow him to throw more passes to his receivers in the middle, short, intermediate passes, and not deep every time. And then maybe that'll help him better in the pocket, maybe open something up for him. Because I just, right now, it just look like he out there thinking too much. He's thinking too much. He's not. I mean, it just looks like he's regressed. It's like last year just looks like a fluke. It looks like a real fluke. And as you pointed out, Eric, he is, one of the most talented quarterbacks in the league. His ability to run and move gives him that. And I mean, he has a live arm. Like, the dude's arm is crazy too. So he can flick the ball, 50, 60 yards down the field. But his accuracy hasn't gotten any better, and throwing from the pocket, he just hasn't gotten it down yet. So the Ravens look like one of them teams where, they might have peaked last year. That might be it. We'll see.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
And like I said, the Titans look really, really good. The Titans look really good. Point out they're a possible Super Bowl contender. Moving on, we had another good game, Green Bay and Indiana, which are two teams that look like playoff teams. Green Bay was in the playoffs. I believe they were in the NFC Championship game last year, right?
Yeah, they were there.
Right?
You sure they were there?
Yeah. Were they? I believe they were, right? Or no? Or did they make it to the second round?
No, they made it there, but their defense didn't show up because Garoppolo threw 8 passes in that game. They ran for 300 yards. San Francisco did against them. Okay,
you're correct. They were there physically.
Physically,
they didn't show up for the game for real, but
not at all.
But Green Bay and Indiana had a really good game that went into overtime. Rodgers again being Rodgers. But this Indiana team. Indiana looks like a pretty good team as well. They got a quarterback by the name of Phillip Rivers. They added him on. You guys think that Phillip Rivers has made them a better team, or is this just still a middling team that's just playing really well right now? What are you guys' thoughts?
Man, Indianapolis is what they are. They're going to be a team that's going to do decent in the regular season, and they'll probably fizz out when the playoffs get here. I have no faith in Phillip Rivers at all. None. They could have stayed with Jacoby Brissett, in my opinion. Their defense is going to play a cover too. They got a lot of fast guys on that team. The front is, I mean, you got Justin Houston, one of the best pass rushers in the game. So, yeah, their defense is good. DeForest Buckner came over from the Niners last year. So they're a good team, man. But on defense, but I have zero faith in Phillip Rivers. He is who he is. He is who his career says he is. He'll get you to a point, and that's it.
And I kind of agree. You know, they lost Marlon Mack earlier this season. I thought they were going to be one of them teams where they just kind of ran the ball a lot and relied on the defense. And some teams where you can't find that dynamic quarterback is typically the smart way to go. We got a strong running game, strong running game. What our defense played, I do believe they do have the number one defense in the league currently right now. They beat a really, really good, or I consider a really good Green Bay team yesterday. Aaron Rodgers, even though he walked them down and scored to get them to overtime, Indiana was able to pull it out in overtime. As you stated, they are one of them teams where they're going to flame out in the playoffs. I look at this team, and like I said, they are a playoff team, I believe. I don't see them beating any of the other juggernauts in the AFC. I just don't. You know, if they win their division, right now they're tied at the top of their division with Tennessee. If they win their division, they'll get, you know, maybe, you know, I'm trying to see in AFC, they might get a Cleveland team who's, you know, I think they're 7-3 right now, I believe, or 6-4, something like that. They might get a Cleveland team. I think they could beat a Cleveland team, but I don't think they could beat Pittsburgh. I don't see them beating KC. I actually don't see them beating Buffalo. I think Buffalo is a good team. I think you're right. They're just kind of like in the middle, just kind of hanging around. And Phillip Rivers don't make them any better. You know, the point of the Jacoby Brissett thing, I thought Jacoby Brissett played well for him.
I did too.
You know, and man, I just don't know why they just didn't get it. You know, they paid the guy, they gave him some more money. And then here come Phillip Rivers. You know, so I wonder what was up with that. I don't know who makes that decision. Well, of course, the coach makes that decision, but wondering why the coach makes that decision and not allow Jacoby Brissett to go ahead and take the reins there. And, you know, he's been building, he's been working there. I mean, he's the one that had to deal with all the bad offensive lines and the no weapons. Like, let the man enjoy the rewards by, you know, being there and working hard. And now they got a defense. You know, they don't give him opportunity. So
I think they did Jacoby Brissett wrong because, you know, Jacoby Brissett was supposed to be the backup behind Luck, you know, that year leading to that season. Then Luck suddenly retires, but then Jacoby Brissett did well, in my opinion, last year. He couldn't help the injuries that fell upon that team. So I think they did him wrong this year. They decided that, you know, Frank Wright made the choice. He want to go with Phillip Rivers. I don't know why. I'm like you. I was a little confused by that because I don't see Phillip Rivers making them that much better than what Jacoby Brissett can do. I get it. They're healthy this year, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And DeForest Buckner is making a difference, helping that defense even more. So why take a guy who shown that even when he was in New England, when he got a chance to start, and now he had a full season to start, he had the opportunity, and you took it away from him. So I don't understand it. You know, maybe it was a clash of the style of play. That could be it. You know, something like what's going on with Nagy with replacing Trubisky with Foles, which I told anybody that would listen, I don't know why they did that. And I think there's a lot of people who felt the same way. Why would you give up on the number 2 pick that quick? You know, I get you didn't draft the guy, but if you thought Nick Foles was the answer, you thought wrong. Because Nick Foles is giving us enough of a sample to say he is not a guy who can lead you through a full 16-game season.
Take my apology, fellas.
Oh, that's okay. Coaches make the money, man. They make the decisions. The same thing how I felt about Brian Flores taking out Tua yesterday and putting in Fitzpatrick. But they study that thing more than we do. They on a day-to-day basis. I'm just a fan on the outside looking in. But sometimes you have to Monday morning quarterback and say, man, what the heck are y'all doing?
Yeah,
it don't make sense.
Pretty much. Now, flipping over to Green Bay side, I know you're just getting back in, Eric. What are your thoughts about Green Bay? You know, Green Bay loses this game. It was a tough one. They said 34-31 to Indiana. But more importantly, last year we found out that this Green Bay team was supposed to be going more defensive. Their defense was supposed to be getting better. You know, kind of phasing out Rodgers. Rodgers don't have to carry the team on his shoulders. And then we saw it in the draft. They didn't go get Rodgers any weapons. they just say, hey, we're fine with the offense the way it is. Our defense is about to be our strength. I believe they're giving up like 20 points a game right now. And you look at the losses, Minnesota, Tampa Bay, Indianapolis, they've all put up 30 plus points. What are your thoughts on Green Bay? Are they for real, or is this a team that's again going to get to the playoffs and get smashed on because literally their defense can't stop nobody?
I don't think that Green Bay is a front runner to be a Super Bowl contender. I do think they're good enough to get to the NFC Championship, but I wouldn't hang my hat on them getting to the Super Bowl. So they're trying to phase out Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, that's a mistake. Let Aaron Rodgers do his thing. Go ahead and solidify the offense. Give the man some weapons. Aaron Rodgers, you know what he can do if you put the team on his shoulders and he has no weapons. So why not make things easier on yourself and get the man some weapons? Don't go get like a Jimmy Graham or something like that who was like 8 years past his prime. I mean, they've got, Adams, and Adams is a pretty good receiver. So they've got some decent weapons. Fortify that offensive line, give them a stronger running game, and then you can talk about Rodgers. If they do that within the next couple of years, he's still good enough to get you to the Super Bowl.
And I mean, I know before the trade deadline, there was a lot of talks about Will Fuller. They were trying to get Will Fuller from the Texans, and they couldn't agree to draft compensation. If you're Green Bay, do you think would y'all have thought that Will Fuller gives them that edge? Adding Will Fuller to
okay, no, that wouldn't be enough. That would be. I agree. That's not enough.
So the draft capital that they was giving up isn't worth Will Fuller. Is what you're saying?
Will Fuller's not worth any draft pick.
Jesus, man.
Not even like a fifth or a sixth round pick.
No, because Will Fuller can only run straight. He can't run routes.
You could say the same thing about Randall Cobb. You could say the same.
Well, at least Randall Cobb can play in the slot though. But at least Cobb can get in the slot. Will Fuller is not a very good. He's not a very good route runner, and I get it. I mean, you got Lazard, and then you got Scantling there. Those guys can do the same thing. They don't do number run straight anyway. Devontae Adams runs all the routes, and then they got Tonyan running across the middle, the tight end that they discovered this year. So why give up draft capital to get a guy that's already going to do what you got guys on the roster to do already? That's my point.
Yeah. I agree, man. When go ahead, Eric. Sorry.
No, I was just thinking if we're playing a what if game. So what if they would have got Hopkins? What if Hopkins was in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers?
With Adams?
Then
yeah.
Then that's the most unstoppable passing game in the NFL. Because Hopkins doesn't run good routes, but he has the best hands in the league. We saw that in the Harold Murray. And then Devontae Adams is just I heard you say one of the best. I think he is the best wide receiver in football.
Wow.
In my opinion.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Really?
Yeah.
Better than Hopkins?
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely feel Adams is the best route runner. That dude route running is ridiculous.
That's why I give him that nod because it is route running.
And I was about to say, and some people will say that because it's route running. I mean, when I go back, I was a big Marvin Harrison fan, and I used to feel like Marvin Harrison was the best receiver in the league because of his route running. Everything within like 5 yards looked the same, right? Yeah. He had no tail when he was running his routes. You know, if he was running a curl, a hitch, a go, a in, out, whatever, because the first 5 yards always looked the same. And then he hit you whatever move he was going to hit you. And it was ridiculous, but he got open for that reason. I feel that's the same way with Adams. Adams, he runs routes, and I mean, you can't stop that dude from running routes. He creates the separation from his route running, and as stated, when I think of Hopkins and Julio, who I got Hopkins and Julio as my two best receivers in the league. Adams is by far the better route runner. I think those two are more game changers, dynamic receivers per se. But Adams, he's there when the ball when you need to get him the ball, he's wherever the ball is. That's what it's about. So, all right.
You think it might have something to do with his quarterback who throws him open?
That is true too.
That always matters. That always matters.
That always matters. Yes, sir.
All right. Like Black Lives.
That's right.
So, all right. I think we've covered. Who are we missing? Who did we miss today?
The Lions.
The Lions.
Ugh.
Yeah. Woo! Woo, the
All
Lions.
right,
Carolina and the Lions.
I'm just
the
gonna
Lions got beat.
be real.
Go
The
ahead.
Lions
Go
got
ahead.
smoked. The Lions. I'm sorry. The Lions got smoked, and I know Will's gonna have something to say. And you know what? Anything you say about the Lions, it's truly deserved, with the exception of Matt Stafford being trash, because it ain't Stafford's fault.
I'm not going
It's
over
not
Stafford,
Stafford's
man.
fault.
I'm not gonna go
It-
over
it's-
Stafford.
But man, I tell you, Patricia
Gotta go.
gotta go. It's like I was
Gotta
telling you earlier. Remember, I was telling you earlier what my game plan is to rebuild the Detroit Lions.
Yes, sir. Corey, well, share
Will
with
I-
the world, man. Share with the world, man.
Yeah,
All
share
right,
with
so-
me.
All right, so this is my thing is, you got a 53-man roster. I say you take 48 of those 53,
Uh-huh.
cut them all. Go get yourself 48 cats that just got out of prison. Offer them all $500,000 a year and tell them that there's $2 extra million in there if you guys make the playoffs. So we keep Stafford, we keep our punters real good, and then we keep who am I missing?
You gotta keep Galladay. You gotta keep Galladay.
Yeah, and we keep Galladay, and that's
Okay.
it.
Okay.
Swift,
What about
you know what? I'm
Swift?
sorry, Swift.
What
Then we
about
got to keep
Swift?
Swift too. We got to keep
Okay.
Swift too. Okay,
All right.
so now we got 47 guys out of jail.
What about Marvin Jones?
Man, we can get something from Marvin Jones, but you know what? Marvin Jones shows up when he feels like it. It's like he wake up this morning and he just remember who he is, and then the other
What about
times he's
Hawkinson?
like,
What about Hawkinson?
man, you
The
know what?
tight end.
T.J. Hopkins, he still needs some development. He thinks he's Gronk, and he's not Gronk.
Very good point.
That-
Very good
that's
point.
That's who T.J. is. He thinks he's Gronk. Like last year when he was a rookie, he's over there trying to hurdle people.
Yeah.
Man, look, you're like 6'5", you like 275, 280. You need to be smashing cats.
Yeah. Drop
When
a
you catching
shoulder.
the ball, you need to make them feel you. When they want it, you need to make them feel you. Coming across the
Right.
middle, if I'm that big,
Yeah.
man, I'm making people feel me.
Drop
Yeah.
a shoulder, bro.
I'm running folks over, man. I'm dropping shoulders. I'm doing back like drops like they do in wrestling. I'm doing all sorts of stuff. When I come through the middle, you need some help. You're not just going to arm tackle me. You need about 3 or 4 cats to bring me down.
Right.
The thing that gets me agitated about the Lions is that they're never terrible. This is probably the worst I've ever seen them look in a loss. They usually lose, but in an entertaining fashion. They completely got smoked. P.J. Walker, his claim to fame is that he was in Vince McMahon's football leagues, the SFL.
Mm.
Now, this cat come out looking like he Michael Vick.
He did. You right about that.
And so I'm like, Patricia is supposed to be this defensive genius, but the defense is trash. It is straight garbage, toxic waste. I don't know what other words that I can use to describe it. He needs to go. He needs to go.
Yeah.
Like I think that the three of us, with our collective, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, Ty, but I think that the three of us, with our connective knowledge, we could assemble a football team better than him. We could coach that team better than them. The Lions will be trash until the Fords sell the team. Period.
That's a very good point.
And I want to say, man, you know, I was talking to a Lions fan yesterday, and it was funny because I said.
It's only 2 of us in the world.
It was funny because I brought up the point. I said, you know what? I said the Lions is probably the only franchise in history that can say we had arguably the best running back and arguably the best receiver to ever play the game, and we couldn't make the playoffs. We couldn't make a Super Bowl. We didn't even make an appearance, man. Like we never showed up. You know, it's so bad, man. That organization is ran so poorly. And you know, Caldwell got a raw deal there, man. He got a super raw deal because that team was improving. I mean, Stafford really improved under him. He improved a lot under him, and they canned him. And they bring Patricia in, and Patricia has done nothing but lose. I mean, he's lost every year. Like he's had a losing record terribly every year. And it's just like, yo, so when does this dude get fired? Like, what's going on? Like, just fire him in the middle of the season. Like, it should just be over at this point, right? And like, for some reason, I just feel like he's gonna be there next year. Like, I don't know why, but I just feel like he's gonna end up being there next year. They're gonna go ahead and let him coach another year. It's ridiculous. He is terrible. He is terrible. And his team, I mean, Stafford is one of the most talented quarterbacks come through the league too. I like Stafford. You know, he can throw the ball. He has good touch. For some reason, when games are on the line, he shows up. Whenever they have a game on the line, he shows up. You know, but he's wasted his whole career there, man. You know, it's almost to a point. Is Stafford the best quarterback in Detroit history? Probably.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I mean, it is just telling how this organization is with the players that they've had, and when they've had like elite talent, they've had game-changing talent, you know, Hall of Fame talent. They aren't able to produce nothing with them dudes. Like just maybe you just get rid of the whole organization. Forget it. just trash your team. Forget it.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, let's just move the organization out of Detroit and just move them somewhere else that would appreciate them. Because for sure,
it's bad.
Barry Sanders, arguably the best back in the history of the game. And think he did what he did in 10 years behind a terrible, terrible offensive line.
Terrible.
So had Barry Sanders had the same type of offensive line, say, and Emmitt Smith did over in Cowboys when they had that super great offensive line, Barry Sanders probably would have been averaging 1,800 to 2,000 yards a season. Averaging. I don't think Emmitt Smith, as great as he is, could have did the same thing in Detroit that he did in Dallas because of that great offensive line. Calvin Johnson, arguably the best wide receiver. Well, now I've seen some pretty good wideouts in Detroit, but he was just like, you know what, to hell with it. It's like, I'm done. I'm going to do just like Barry did. I'm going to split just like he did. And it just mismanagement of talent, Ty. You definitely said it. And Stafford is the best quarterback that we've ever had. Definitely the best quarterback that I've ever seen in Detroit. I think the last really great quarterback we had was Bobby Lane. And nobody knows who Bobby Lane is because that's just how long ago it's been since the Lions have had a talented quarterback. Yeah, Bobby Lane goes back to the 50s. The last time the Lions won a championship was back in 1957. And it wasn't even called the Super Bowl. And were we up to like Super Bowl 50 what?
53, 54, one of them two.
Yeah. Yeah,
right. So I'm probably going to be a blind old man, can't see. Now, I think somebody told me the Lions win the Super Bowl. I'll probably be too old to really enjoy it.
Don't feel bad. I feel that way about the Dolphins too. Don't feel so bad.
But the Dolphins have won the Super Bowl though.
Yeah, they have. They won two, but they won two, but they ain't been there. Yeah, they went to one with Marino. They should have went to a lot more with Marino, but Shula couldn't build a defense, so it is what it is. And I'm not sold so far this year.
Well, Shula can say one thing that the Lions get. It's like he's been to what, 3? He's won what, 1?
No, he's been to 5.
Or did he win 2? He's been to 5?
He's been to 5. He went with 1 with Baltimore. You know, they were upset by the Jets in Super Bowl 3, and then he went with 4 with Miami. And he's 2-2 with the Dolphins, and then he's 0-1 with Baltimore. So he went to 5. So he did win 2 Super Bowl titles. Actually, went to 6. My bad. He lost 4.
Okay.
Oh.
It's a little history here today. A little history. All right. And so before we get off of the football and switch gears, I mean, we have to go to the NFC West because I think like the NFC West is probably the most competitive division in football right now. I mean, you could argue that maybe the AFC North is just as competitive, but I don't know. You got Seattle, the Rams, Arizona. They're 7-3, 6-3, and 6-4. The Niners, which are the defending NFC champions, are at the bottom at 4-6. But and right now, I believe the Lions and Tampa Bay are getting ready to play. If I'm correct, I think they're playing.
It's Tampa and the Rams right now, and the Rams are driving on them.
Yeah. So, but again, a really, really tough division. We saw Seattle and Arizona play on Thursday Night Football. Seattle pulled that out. I believe they won by 7. Kyler Murray, man. What are you guys' thoughts on Kyler Murray, man? What do you guys think?
I'm surprised.
Is he that good, or is it? Huh?
I thought that Arizona was crazy, honestly, for drafting Kyler Murray. I thought that he was too small. I knew that he had talent, but I didn't think that he would be able to adapt to the NFL as well as he did, as fast as he did. So I'm pleasantly surprised with him. The dude is elusive. He's competitive. And that dude's got a way stronger arm than I thought he had. That little guy can run out of the pocket and he can throw and run with accuracy. So that cat, I was really surprised that he's as good this fast.
Yeah, definitely. What are your thoughts, Will? What
He-
how
he's-
are you feeling?
He's that good this fast, huh? Let me say this about
Yeah.
Kyler Murray. Let me say about Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray can throw a football. He can make guys miss that are bigger than him. There's going to come a day in this league to where teams are going to say, you know what? We're going to take away those run lanes, and you're going to have to throw that ball from the pocket. 5'7", Kyler Murray. Everything you just said that you were fearful of his size in the NFL, it's going to come a time when this league catches up with you. That's the one thing that is known. Ask Lamar Jackson. This league catches up with you. Eventually, they're going to scheme a way to make his little small self, his little midget self, throw from that pocket. And that day is going to come, and everybody's going to say, see, you need a guy that's at least 6'3", 6'4", to be able to see over these big offensive linemen. That day is going to come. And what I saw in the game against Seattle, that day came 3 days early because it was on a short week. What Seattle did in that game, they didn't let him escape the pocket a lot. They made him throw from the pocket, and I saw a lot of passes get batted down. That is going to be the thing that's going to really be a detriment in his career, is that he's going to, when he has to throw from that pocket, it's going to be tough because he's so small. That's why Doug Flutie didn't succeed. That's why Drew Brees is where he at, because Drew Brees understands how to get the ball out quick. Kyler Murray, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, and Tua, they all got the same problem. They hold the ball and waiting for a play to be made. In this league, that don't work.
Yeah, I agree. And to add to that, which makes it even worse is, you mentioned the size, right? If you're 5'10", 5'11", you holding the ball, man, you got a problem, right? Because as you stated, once those rushers get in your face, all they doing is just putting their hands up and trying to bat the ball down. They ain't really going for the sack or anything like that. They don't need to. They were just going to impair your vision, put their hands up, possibly knock the ball down, and the play is over. And Herbert and a little bit of other guys can get away with it because they're 6'3" and 6'4", etc. But point out Drew Brees got one of the quickest releases in the game, and that's the reason why, because him being so short, he got to get that ball out. Another person who has a quick release too is Russell Wilson, who's 5'11", 6 feet at most, and he just he gets the ball out real quick. So it's important. And as you stated, we'll probably see teams kind of push in that way of containing, making sure that he has to throw the ball from the pocket and making him win the game from the pocket for the most part. But I'm pleasantly surprised by Arizona. I think they are better than what I expected, quicker than I expected. I thought this team was, last year when they played, when we saw Kyler Murray, I was like, okay, they got a good quarterback. And they got some pieces, the offensive line is looking good. They ended up trading for Drake. I thought Drake was a good pickup for them. I was like, okay, that's a good running back. And he came and had I think he had a 200-yard game in Arizona last year, I believe. But I was like, they got a run game. They're kind of putting this together. And then they made the monster trade for DeAndre Hopkins. I was like, man, they might be trying to win a chip like right now. Like they really feel that way. And the defense of Arizona, I think that's important. I think right now they have currently like I think it's like top 7, top 8 defense in the league. That defense is playing really, really well. They're a really well-coached team for the most part. And I mean, they're making some noise in NFC West. The NFC West possibly because of the new playoff layout, with this year being able to have 8 playoff teams possibly, or 8, having 8 teams hit the playoffs. It is possible that Arizona gets in. It is possible that Arizona, the Rams, and Seattle gets in. And that'd be crazy, to have that division and have those 3 teams and eyeball out is a team who made it to the Super Bowl last year. That's crazy.
Speaking of the Rams, they have just scored, so it is 7-0 Los Angeles Rams with 3:55 left in the first quarter.
The Buccaneers are overrated. The Buccaneers are overrated, dude. I'm sorry. I've been saying this before the season started. I get it. Tom Brady's the GOAT. That was yesteryear. This is this year. This is 2020. I get everybody wants to say, oh, it was Jameis' fault. It wasn't all Jameis. Bruce
Wasn't.
Arians has proven as a coach, he's a gambling guy. He's worse than Ron Rivera. He likes to take shots deep. That's the way he plays. Is Tom Brady that quarterback? You got to ask yourself, is that Tom Brady's strength? What has been Tom Brady's strength since he was at the Patriots? Short passing, and every now and then going deep. Bruce Arians wants to go deep a lot. So I don't see, and I didn't see the improvement in the offense line. I get it. We like great stories. We don't want the hero to go out limping. We want him to go out on top. It won't happen. The Bucs are overrated. I said this before the season started. I don't care. They beating nobody. The teams that have played them, look, they got trashed by the Saints twice. And then they played a Green Bay team. Okay, that's the one good team they beat. But other than that, no, they haven't played anybody. No,
I agree.
And tonight, they're gonna get a hand to them.
We'll see.
Watch what Aaron Donald and them boys do to him. Watch what Aaron Donald, Brockers, and the boys do to them and do that our offensive line tonight. Watch it.
Well, I'm hoping that Tom Brady come up with some sort of a Charlie horse or a cramp, because I'd really hate to see what happened if Aaron Donald's actually put the wood on.
Well,
he might be ugly.
He better get some divine intervention to stop that defensive line, because that offensive line is not good. And the Rams, the last time the Rams came to Florida, they dominated Miami. Their offense just cost them that game. They lost by 9 points, but they dominated Miami. I mean, they outrushed Miami. They had the ball more than Miami. They dominated that game.
Yeah.
This Tampa team is the Dolphins. I didn't say that for people think I'm kidding when okay. Their defense is all risk all the time. They're just like the Dolphins. The Dolphins can't get to you with 4 people. They can't get to you with 4 people. I don't care if Ndamukong Suh had 2 good games. I don't care if JPP every now and then he reverts back to himself. If they can't blitz, they can't get to you. That's how it goes. Yeah, they can't get no pressure. So, and their secondary is worse than the Dolphins. Watch this game tonight. I'm telling you, I got the Rams winning this game by 2 scores. And I'm talking 2 touchdowns, not 2 field goals. At least
there you go.
By double digit.
Okay, well, I disagree. I think that it's going to be I think it's going to be 27-21 Tampa.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, we gonna definitely have to touch on this.
I might not step and watch it. I catch the highlights in the morning, but I think I'm gonna come out on top on this one.
We definitely gonna catch this next week. We're gonna find out next week who won this one. I'll remember this.
I'll either be gloating or I'll be humbled. One of the two.
I don't know, but if you watch that last play, you'll understand what I'm talking about when they just dumped them. Brockers got there. They got there with 4 guys. That's what I'm saying. 4 guys.
Well, with that front line, they could probably really rush 3 guys, to be honest with you, but because Donaldson himself, that's actually not even fair, because having had Donald on there, it's just like having like a 5th guy rushing a quarterback. You really need 3 people to stop him.
And everybody talks about Jalen Ramsey. Hill is good. Hill's a very good corner. He's really good.
He would be a number 1 corner on most teams.
Yes.
So you've got 2 number 1 corners. So you want to know what? They can be aggressive like that because they've got a good secondary. Their corners both are solid. The safeties are solid. They've even got good linebackers that can drop back in coverage. So you don't need to rush 5 or 6 guys. You can just rush the 4 guys. You could have somebody hawk in the middle of the field, and you could just use everybody else, in pursuit. So you can utilize your linebackers and they can be aggressive.
That's the team New Orleans should be afraid of. That's the team New Orleans is the Rams.
Everybody should be afraid of it. If Jared Goff ever really starts clicking, that could be a very dangerous team.
Well, they manage him well. I like the way they manage him. They give him an advantage with quick snapping. They do all this trickery at the offensive line. They do jet sweeps. They do all kind of things. So they do a lot of things to help him out. Sean McVay does, at least until the 15 seconds go off and before the 15 seconds left to play, because he's always talking to him in that headset. So, but anyway, the Rams are a very good football team, and that defensive line, man, is going to be a nightmare for whoever they play. I mean, I'm serious. They're very good, man. They're really good. And those corners, like I said, that Hill kid doesn't get the props that he deserves. He's a very good corner.
All right. So last thing I'm going to say is that possibly a Rams versus Kansas City Super Bowl.
Woo.
So NFC West still represents the NFC, huh? That's how you
You know
feel?
what? I'm just asking Will because he's picking KC to go down there. So do you think that that the Rams have the type of defense that could stop
Oh yeah,
Mahomes?
yeah, but so does New Orleans. Because once Davenport came back, you can't double team Cam Jordan no more. So New Orleans has the team, the defense that can beat them too. So if you asking me a toss up between New Orleans and the Rams, man, that's tough. And I think the only reason I'm gonna go with the Saints because you remember the Rams got there off of that non-pass interference. So I think the Saints will be definitely out for revenge in that game. So that's the only reason I'm giving the Saints the advantage is to get payback for that non-pass interference call.
That's going to be a hard-hitting game. If it happens,
Oh,
it's going to be a hard-hitting game.
That's football. That's football. That's how it's supposed to be.
Okay.
This is true. All right. So moving on over from football to the NBA draft. We had the draft that happened on Wednesday, which is different. It typically happens on Thursday, but happened on Wednesday this year. Top pick was Anthony Edwards, who went 1 to Minnesota Timberwolves, followed by James Wiseman at number 2 and LaMelo Ball at number 3. We start with the top. At the top, which one of those do you guys think was the better fits for their teams?
James Wiseman with the Warriors until Clay got hurt. I thought that if they would have drafted Wiseman and Clay still would have been there, man, that team would have been great, I believe, because you would have arguably the best prospect in the draft on a championship-ready team getting coached up by Steve Kerr, Clay, Steph, Draymond. I thought that would have been a great fit. You can just let the young guy go up there. He can play. He can develop. But, man, now that Clay is gone, I think the surprise of the draft, if we're looking at the top 3, to be honest, LaMelo Ball. Because I think that a lot of people are thinking that he's all hype. But I think out of all of the Ball kids, I think he's got the most talent. So I'm going LaMelo Ball because he's not – the way that the rest of the kids handle his dad, and he just quietly just goes about his business and does what he needs to do. So I think that that's going to be the surprise of the draft. I think he's probably going to be better than the other 2.
Okay. All right. What about you, Will? What are your thoughts?
I think his offensive game is definitely better than Lonzo's. That's without doubt. But his shot is just as funky as Lonzo's. But his offensive game is better. I don't know about that. I don't know if he'll be anything nowhere near Lonzo on the defensive end. Lonzo's he's a dog on that defense.
Yeah, he's a ball hawk. He definitely is.
Yeah. The best fit now that you're right about the Wiseman situation with Clay going out, I gotta go with Edwards because Edwards has all the tools. He's long. He's got leaping ability. He's got athletic ability. Put him in the backcourt with Russ. D'Angelo Russell and the big cat. So they got a nice young big 3. They all can probably give you 20 a night. The rest of the roster just isn't that good. That's just what it comes down to. I don't see them making any noise in the Western Conference because it's so deep. But I like Edwards. I like this game at Georgia. It's just that, just like any kid, man, that you see them lapses and you say, well, dang, he doesn't have that dog in him. But then when he wants to play, he's a baller, man. He's definitely a baller. So I like him, but I like what the Knicks did, to be honest with you, because I think Toppin is probably the most polished guy in the draft, and the Knicks did a good job of getting him. I don't know where they're going to play him with all them forwards they got, but
man, anyway. I was about to say that was one of my head scratchers of the draft. But out of the top 3, I mean, I'm still going with Wiseman. I thought Wiseman was the perfect fit for the Warriors. He essentially filled a need that they had. They have been missing even as they made the run to the finals all 5 years. They were missing that big guy in the middle who could protect the rim, rebound and actually give you some points in the paint, right? And so they try to get different people to do that. Bogut was a guy who gave you he could get you a couple baskets in the paint, but he wasn't an offensive threat in the paint. He was more of a defensive player, defensive presence. And that's essentially what they had him there for. And then Zaza Pachulia, he was just a goon. He just beat you up in the paint. Wasn't really a rim protector. He just beat you up. They tried to get Boogie You know, they was figuring getting Boogie might do them a little bit better with offensive scoring in the paint. And so now you got the kid, James Wiseman, who is a legit 7-footer. He's a legit footer. He's legit 7'1" with a 7'5", 7'6" wingspan. And he has some game, man. He has some offensive game. They're not asking him to go drop 15 a night or 20 a night. They're really asking him to learn how to be at the back end of the defense. You know, protect the rim, screen hard on offense and things like that, and allow him to develop as a player. And I think that doesn't change even with Klay going down. And the only reason I think that is because the players that they added once Klay went down, you know, Oubre is going to supplement that scoring for the most part. And this team becomes a more of a, he's going to supplement that scoring. But
you better not put Kelly Oubre nowhere in the orbit of Klay Thompson.
No. See, no, it's a difference. I'm not saying he is Klay Thompson by a long shot. Not at all. What I'm saying is when you look at just the points, right? You're getting about 21, 22 from Klay a game. That's what you were getting. That's what career-wise, he gives you about 22 a game. You know, you're going to get about 18 to 19 a game from Oubre.
Ooh, you want to bet on that?
He's not going to give you the points in the same manner, though, as
I know,
Klay,
but
Would
you like to bet that Kelly Oubre does not average 18 points a game this season?
I mean, I think he will. I don't see why not. I really don't see why not. You know, he's an aggressive player, man. He's an aggressive player. He's going to, I think with the way that the Warriors move the ball, he's going to get a lot of opportunities to attack the rim. That is his strength.
Right.
And I think that if when the Warriors look their best, they're moving the ball and they're scoring from a whole bunch of different places, right? They're going to ask Wiggins and Oubre to pick up that slack far as scoring. And I think that those two guys can give you something. Now, they're not, like I said, you can't replace Klay because Klay's shooting.
Combined, they'll give you Klay.
It's not.
Combined, they will give you Clay's numbers. Combined, not one
that's
guy.
What I said. Well, no. Oh, no, I wasn't saying that Oubre was going to just pick up. No, I wasn't saying that at all. I'm saying that Oubre gives you some of what you need in regards to making up for Klay. And so, you know, that's going to be a collective. The team as a collective is going to have to figure out a way to make up for for Klay being gone. And you really can't, because like I said, I mean, you can't make up 40, 42, 43% from 3-point line. You can't.
Do you think they challenge the Lakers? Do you think they challenge the Lakers?
No, absolutely.
Okay,
they don't challenge the Lakers.
Because, do they make the playoffs?
Yes, they make the playoffs. They make the playoffs. They don't challenge the Lakers, but they make the playoffs.
Over who? Okay, Houston's going. Okay, Houston's going, so I'll give you that. Yeah, Houston's done. They're done.
Houston's done. I think healthy, this is a top five team in the West. Top 5.
Behind Utah.
And what I'm saying is maybe 5th behind, you know, like I said, I'll be real. For me, you got the Lakers, right?
Clippers.
You got the Lakers.
Clippers.
You got the Clippers.
Jazz.
Right? I think those two are the top 2 teams.
Jazz.
Right? And then see, I'm
Denver.
Denver.
So
what about the Blazers?
So
what about the Mavs?
Actually, wait.
Yeah.
I have the Blazers. I have the Blazers being number 3. And then from there,
really?
I do. I have the Blazers being number 3.
Okay.
And then from there, I think that the rest of the teams, I don't think there's a big difference from the rest of the teams, to be real. And that's why I said I think the Warriors can be the 5th, you know, or they could be like the 7th, right? But I don't think there's a huge gap between that from there down, right? I think the Blazers, when healthy, you know, are a 55 to 60 win team when healthy.
Okay.
The West?
In the West. I mean, and they have talent. Last year they were hurt all year. They snuck into the playoffs as an AFC, but they were hurt all year. CJ McCollum was out pretty much the entire season. You know, he missed a lot of games, and they lost both of their bigs. Whiteside was just a bad fit there. You know, and so I think this year, you know, they're going to be a better team. I think they went back. They went back and got Cantor. I think Cantor is a better offensive player. And gives them what they need in the paint. I like what's his name? Nurkic. Nurkic, you know, he's soft, but I like him. I like Nurkic. Nurkic is a good fit for that team. And I mean, and you know what you're gonna get from Dame and CJ. They're going to keep you in the game all the time. So that's why I said, like, the Lakers, the Clippers, or the Blazers are the three teams that I'm more sold about than anything in the Western Conference as far as like I'll lock them into the playoffs. And even
Nugget?
Denver.
No Nugget?
No, well, see, what that's what I'm about to say. So like Denver, like Utah, like, you know, they're going to be in the playoffs. You just don't know what seed, right?
Yeah,
I know they're going to be in the playoffs.
But if they had Bogdanovich, the other the small forward Bogdanovich, that they made the playoffs without him last year. This is the guy that carried Indiana to the playoffs and took LeBron James when he was in Cleveland to 7 games with Victor Oladipo. Bogdanovich is a player, and you put him with Mitchell, and then they still got the lefty that can shoot like crazy, and then Conley, and then Gobert. That's a heck of a starting five. And I think they re-signed Clarkson, so they are, and then they got Favors back. Utah is not. I mean, Utah ain't no team to sleep on. And
I'm
Michael Porter, remember this name. Remember this name, Michael Porter. Remember, I'm serious. Michael Porter Jr., if he is healthy, he will win Most Improved Player this year, and he will show you why he was rated the #1 overall small forward in the country. That kid is talented. And you put him with Jokic and Murray, and he got a year under his belt. Oh, man, Denver's going to be really tough. Really tough.
I'll tell you who I think is going to be tough. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ty.
I was just going to touch on that Denver thing, and I agree with you. I like Michael Porter. I think Michael Porter is one of those guys where, first off, I think Doc Rivers kind of got fired for not drafting that dude. I think that was part of the reason why he should have got fired out of there.
He should have got fired for that.
But my issue with Denver and Mike Malone is they will run the pick and roll to death, and they're not utilizing the rest of those players. And that's the only reason why I don't have them higher. I feel like if he figured out a way to get production out of the rest of those players, like legit production, then this Denver team, because I clearly feel like Denver might have the most talent on their team in the league.
Wait, who's the 2 best players on that team? Who's 2 best players on Denver?
I mean, it's Jokic and Murray. Those are your 2 best players. But
when San Antonio had the 2 best players with Tim Duncan and Tony Parker, they ran pick and roll to death. So I don't get what the problem is.
They did, but they got production from everybody else as well, and they included those, right? It's literally the Murray and Jokic show, and everybody just kind of sits around and watches. That's how I feel, and I think that, you know, Michael Porter, who could have been used a lot better in that series last year, like, or, you know, this past season, you know, I think if you figure out a way to involve Michael Porter more in that offense, you have a dog of a team. Like, your team is, I mean, they're already good. They're really good. You got to figure out a way to get those other players involved. You got to be able to get the Gary Harrises and all them guys more actively involved in the game, because a lot of times they just sit around and it's just Jamal Murray and Jokic, and they just watch them. And so that's my only issue with that offense. That's my only issue. Okay. But I like Denver. I am a Denver fan. Like, I mean, I'm a Warriors fan. Don't get me wrong. But I like watching Denver, man. I like watching Denver. You know, like, I mean, Denver's one of them teams where, like, you see talent go there. You see the, you know, and you, like, the young guys, like, they're an exciting team. They have it. And it's just they're just missing something. I don't know what it is, but they just can't get it. So.
All right. So here's my surprise team, the Dallas Mavericks. Mm-hmm. Now we saw what Luka did. Mm-hmm. Luka, man, I'm telling you, I hope that the kid that the Pistons drafted out of Israel, I hope he's somewhere close to Luka. Luka proved that he could take a game over by himself. Hurt, Porzingis got tossed for some old bogus reason. Luka, I think you give that boy a couple of more years and give him one more weapon. I think Seth Curry being traded away from the Mavericks, I think that was a bad move. That was a bad move. Yeah, I think it was a bad move because Seth, as a shooter, you know what?
Yeah, but they got defense. They traded offense for defense. It's both teams got what they needed. Both teams got what they needed. That's the way I look at it.
I don't like the move personally. I can understand it, but I don't like it. That team was just starting to gel, in my opinion.
Okay.
But the biggest surprise on that team is not that Luka, because I think everybody now knows that Luka is for real. It's how Porzingis developed once he left New York.
You hit it right on the head.
They gave up on Porzingis, and Porzingis has proved that I am a dog. He proved it in New York. He just became unmotivated. Why am I going to put all this effort in on this trash team? I sit back. He probably could have came back to New York healthy, but when he got to Dallas, it was like, who's really going to stop him? I mean, he's a coordinated 7-footer with a legit jumper, can play back to the basket, can rebound, and can defend. And he can defend. You put one more star around him, Dallas is going to be tough to handle.
That's what would be tough if it was just those two. But the thing about KP is he can't stay healthy. You know, that's the only problem with him is he just can't. If KP plays an entire year and he plays into the playoffs and plays the entire playoffs, I think Dallas will make a deep run in the playoffs because Luka has proven he can run the show on the offensive end. The reason they picked up Josh Richardson is because they needed him to not be able to have to guard the other team's best perimeter player. So that takes that stress off of him. But then if they get that other big kid back that went out with the injury, they're gonna be really tough to beat. Dallas will be. So I like Dallas. But I'll tell you a team I'm definitely in love with is the Phoenix Suns. Man, let me tell you something.
Chris Paul and Phoenix.
Chris Paul with them two youngsters.
See, y'all already jumped ahead. Oh, we go ahead. Let's go. Hey, well, let's keep it going. Let's go ahead. We can jump into free agency trades. You brought up Phoenix. What are your thoughts on that? They got Chris Paul. They made a lot of moves. How do you feel about Phoenix this year? Man, I love Phoenix this year. I think Phoenix may be better than your Warriors. Ooh, man.
I think Phoenix would maybe better. Not with Clay.
Man, disrespect.
Not with Clay, of course.
I know.
Okay.
Book and Ayton and Chris Paul, man, and then they brought Zarbish back. So they're gonna be deep, man. They're losing Kelly Oubre is gonna hurt because he fit well on that team. But man, Bridges, they're gonna be tough. That is tough.
And then just they also signed Jay Crowder.
They picked up Crowder.
Yeah,
that's the big piece.
That's the big acquisition right there. You got a vet. He's going to give you 3, and he's going to give you some tough on-ball defense. And he's got a championship pedigree too. So,
and he's going to hit that 3, and he's going to get a lot of open shots. He's going to get a lot of open shots.
And he ain't scared. I mean, I see that offense being a fast-paced, run and gun sort of offense with like shooters everywhere.
Yeah, they're gonna be tough.
And I mean,
that's the team.
And you got to give props to Chris Paul, man. A lot of people hate on Chris Paul about not winning the chip and not getting to the finals. But one thing Chris Paul does, I don't care where he goes, he makes you a playoff team. That you make it to the playoffs. I don't know how, but he figures out a way to get you there. And we just saw it last year.
He's gonna get them there. He's gonna get them there.
This Phoenix team is a really good team. I think they'll be fighting for a playoff spot.
They ain't fighting. I will go out on this limb right here and tell you they will be better than the Clippers.
Ooh,
did the Clippers?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, it does make sense because the Clippers have lost some personnel. So
they lost when they lost Montrezl Harrell. That was a wrap.
You know what? I don't feel like the Montrezl Harrell is such a big loss to them, and the only reason why is because they filled that void with Serge Ibaka, and I think Serge Ibaka is still a better defender. He's a better defender. He's just as good as a rebounder. And he's a better defender than Harrell. Harrell is terrible on defense. He's terrible on defense.
But what Harrell lacks in his positioning, you're right. He's always out of position. He makes up with that relentless hustle. Now you're telling me that Serge Ibaka is going to make up for being out of position by being in position, but less athletic.
But Ibaka can still protect the rim. He still averages over a block a game at the rim. He's still a rim protector. He still changes shots, and it's something that the Clippers needed. You know, the Clippers they didn't have a rim protector. So,
Yeah, but they're going to have to go with okay. So you can't play Zubac and Ibaka together because they never played. Well, they never played Trez and Ibaka and Zubac together. So
but they can't play them two because Trez can't shoot.
Ibaka
can actually shoot.
Okay,
Ibaka's not a shooter either, but Ibaka knows his role. He's not going to be out there shooting threes. He's gonna take his little 15 to 18 foot jumper, and he's gonna go slash to the basket, and he's gonna get you some putback jams. So
yeah, I mean, I just think far as what it looks like the Clippers is doing, or what they're attempting to do per se, what they're attempting to do, which is open the floor up more. I think Ibaka becomes a better fit for that team. Now, I do think that you miss out on that hustle and that grit from Harrell. I mean, you can't make that up. He plays with a lot of energy. You know what I'm saying? And he, like I said, he's an energy guy. He's a huge energy guy. He goes over to your rival team, so that makes that makes them better and makes you worse. But I don't think that the Clippers are in a worse position per se than they was with him. I think that defensively, like I said, they're a more veteran team. Defensively, they'll be better. That's what I think. And that's what killed them last season. I mean, they could not stop nothing in the paint, man. They couldn't stop nothing. So
they could.
They're still the team that lost a 3-1 lead to the Denver Nuggets in the second round. They're still that team. There's nothing they did to improve that roster. They still don't have a point guard. Pat Bev is not a point guard. They still don't have that. So no, and Kawhi, until he decides that he wants to be vocal and he could be the guy that leads a team, and Paul George, God bless his heart, he wants to be a superstar, but he's not. Let's call it what it is. Let's call it what it is.
He's an all-star. He's an all-star,
but he's not a superstar.
I love Paul George game, man. But you're right, man. It's something that just leaves to be desired, man. I don't know what it is.
Steve Ballmer sold his franchise to get Paul George. That was the worst move he did because he's getting ready to be set back a long time because both of those guys have player options next year. Do you think Kawhi is going to hang around there and watch the Lakers keep running banners and making championship runs and he's staying in LA? No, he's player option and he's getting out. The Clippers' whole franchise got worse the day they lost that 3-1 lead, and then they let Doc leave. They blamed Doc for that, and Doc was the worst scapegoat of the whole situation because Doc wasn't a GM no more. But you blamed him, okay? And then now everybody wants Ty Lue. Okay, that's great. Ty Lue's gonna hold guys accountable, but you still have the same problem. You don't have a point guard.
I have a point guard. I agree with you. So we had some teams that made some huge moves. We already mentioned Phoenix. I wanted to point out, said the Lakers. Lakers made moves this offseason. Atlanta made a lot of moves this offseason. The Warriors made some moves this offseason. They had to. Milwaukee tried to make some moves this offseason. Philly. What team do you think put themselves in a better position than they were last year? And what I mean by that is, we know the Lakers were the champions. They made some moves. How much more have they improved? Right? Atlanta, we know Atlanta wasn't a playoff team. How much more have they improved?
Fair.
Which team do you think has made the most improvement? Whether they made the playoffs or not, which team do you feel like made the most improvement this offseason so far?
It depends on if the Sacramento Kings match that paper for Bogdanovic. If they match it, then Atlanta hasn't. But if they don't, Atlanta has. Although they've improved their veterans and they've improved their shooting, they just didn't improve their defense because of Gallinari, Trae Young, and Bogdanovic perimeter is a cakewalk to the basket. Yeah. Capella's gonna stay in foul trouble if that's what their perimeter defense is going to be. But anyway, Atlanta, if Bogdanovic becomes a member of the Hawks, that's the team.
Okay. What about you, Eric? What do you think? What team?
I'd have to.
And I mean, I just pointed out those teams, but if you got another team that you like, yo, this team really stood out in the offseason so far? What team?
The Lakers. Yeah, I'd still have to say the Lakers. I'll be honest with you. How are you getting Marc Gasol? What kind of a salary cap situation do the Lakers have?
That's my point. He said exactly what I've been thinking.
Well, how are they? I mean, I'm stuck. I'm like, Marc Gasol? I'm like, what kind of situation are they in where they can afford?
And Montrezl Harrell.
Yeah, and Montrezl Harrell.
And Dennis Schroeder. They replaced Danny Green with Dennis Schroeder.
Mm-hmm. And they re-signed KP for 3 years, $40 million. Ben, they replaced KP. I mean, they re-signed KP 3 years, $40 million. I told you they wasn't letting that man go nowhere.
No, you don't let that guy go. That guy's a 6'7" defender, and he can knock down the three. You don't let him go. You let Danny Green walk, but you don't let KCP walk. No, there's no way you do that.
And Markieff Morris says that he's going to re-sign with the Lakers. So him, it ain't really about the money. It's about he wanting to get another chip. So, in my opinion, they've improved their team.
They got way better.
They've even gotten a little younger if you really think about some of the moves that they made. And so now you're setting up the next probably like 5 years with Anthony Davis still being, on the rise. I don't even think Anthony Davis has reached his peak yet. So the Lakers are going to be dangerous.
They can be scary and go back to back and possibly three-peat. Because
it depends on whether or not you're right. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it really depends on how long does LeBron want to play. I guess that's really the question.
If I'm Bron, I'm riding it because I don't have to play as many minutes. Now you got Dennis Schroeder bringing the ball up court. I don't have to play that many minutes no more. I don't have to do all the things to do because Dennis Schroeder is a starter. They still got Caruso. I mean, I don't know what they're gonna do with Kuzma, but who cares? I mean,
Kuzma
all
could
those
just
guys,
be there for the ride. Kuzma's like, what? If y'all need
that's
me,
what he was doing last year, is riding.
Well,
I'm here. If y'all need me, I'm here.
Yeah, exactly. Just hitch on the ride, bro, because this team, man, with KCP and the wings have gotten younger and more athletic. With Schroeder coming in, he's a better shooter. I don't know, he's not Rondo's type of defender. He doesn't have Rondo's ability to run a team, but he's a point guard. He's a true point guard. He learned under Chris Paul for a year in OKC. So I didn't like the Lakers. I don't like they beat the Heat. I really wish that somebody would knock them off so the Heat can have a fair chance to get a title. But I don't see anybody beating the Lakers this year, man. I think the Lakers go back to back.
Now, unless Giannis winds up going down over to Miami, Giannis with Jimmy Butler.
Well, we got a year away from that, and then if I'm Milwaukee, I wouldn't let him walk for nothing. I mean, I would try to trade him if he's not going to sign with me. I'm just not going to just stand there and be with Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton and Brook Lopez. I mean,
would you resign, or maybe he can get creative. No. Maybe he can go over to Brooklyn.
I mean, I wouldn't if I was him with the roster the way it is now. I like DiVincenzo, I like Covington. Okay, Chris Middleton is there. Okay, you traded out Drew Holiday for Eric Bledsoe. Okay, that's an upgrade, but still, I'm still in the same position that I was in last year or the year before. It's going to come down to, can he make jump shots? Because it doesn't matter what team he plays that's physical. They're going to make him make jump shots. You're not going to punk the Toronto team that he lost to. You weren't going to punk Miami last year. And he's going to run into a team that's going to do the same thing. I don't know who it's going to be, but it may be Philly this year. He's going to run into a team that he's just not going to be able to steamroll. So he's going to have to make jumpers. And that's what it's going to come down to.
And I mean, and you're right, man. I had this discussion in my group earlier this week. They were talking about the 3-ball and all this thing. I said, no. I said, you know what? I said, the 3-ball is great. I said, but when you always got to have somebody who can shoot the mid-range. Got to open the floor up. You know what I'm saying? The mid-range helps open the floor up. And I said, and with Greek's problem is he cannot shoot the mid-range at all. He has no mid-range game. So it's either he's going to try to shoot the 3-pointer, which he's not a great 3-point shooter at all, or he's taking it to the rim. There's nothing in between. And so it makes him so easy to guard when it comes to the playoffs, because all they're going to do is say, hey, we're going to pack the paint and we're going to make somebody else beat us. You know what I'm saying? And we'll take our chances. And that's what they've been doing. The last 2 years, Miami did that. Miami just basically, took his ability to go get in the paint. Done. In Toronto 2 years ago, same thing. Took his ability away from the paint. It was done. So he this offseason, you got to figure out how to just develop a pull-up jump shot. A pull-up jump shot in the middle of the floor. 20 feet, elbow extension. You got to be able to, man. You got
Bro,
to do something.
he got 4 teams. He got 4 teams in that Eastern Conference that built their team just to knock him silly.
Yeah.
Because
And-
Boston went out and picked up Tristan Thompson to get extra fouls to hit him.
Which was a good pickup for them. That was a
It's
good
a
pickup.
very good. And Brooklyn got 2 beasts over there waiting on him. They got 2 dudes over there waiting on him. They got Allen and they got DeAndre Jordan waiting on him. And then they got the ultimate scorer coming back in Kevin Durant. And then you're looking at Philly. Philly's got guys that's waiting on him. And then that's a really bad matchup with Philly this year, because if Steph Curry shoots the way he does with Thibault, the other defender, and man, that Philly team is going to be. They got the perfect guys around those guys now that can shoot the ball.
It'll be good.
And you got a coach that knows how to.
Yeah,
and you got a coach that knows how to scheme against players that are. I guess you can still call Giannis a one-dimensional player. I mean, he just excels at it at such a high level that it's hard to guard him. But yeah, Doc Rivers might even let him go wild and just game plan against the rest of those guys. Eventually, Giannis is going to get tired.
Well, why not?
I was about to say, is it one of them things where he's hard to guard, or is just a thing where like it's the regular season and it's the regular season? It's a marathon, right?
Yeah,
and so it's like you don't worry about those things until the playoffs. It's the same thing that I said with Houston, where everybody's like, look at Houston during the regular season. I'm like, yeah, but as soon as the playoffs come, and now you have to, like, that team is focused solely on you, it's a different game. I mean, OKC almost took them out in 7. Right. And I told people, I said, yeah, that small ball is not going to work in Houston. It's not going to work. You know what I'm saying? Like, and a lot of people like to reference the Warriors playing small ball. But I said the Warriors playing small ball was like they had a guy on the floor that was 6'10", 6'11" still. Like, it wasn't necessarily small ball. You know what I'm saying? It was the fact that they was all able to run and shoot, and they had, two-way players all over the floor. Like, they can still do everything. And what they gave up in rebounding per se, they gained the actual defense and shooting. Houston just took it to a whole nother level. It was like, forget rebounding, we just gonna shoot.
Yeah, they just try to outscore people. That's all that was.
And it don't work.
Here's the thing. The Golden State Warriors were very efficient in their shooting, so they could always go back and they can set their defense. So they had shooters, and the shooters were accurate. Houston, I mean, Westbrook and Harden just go up and just start throwing up bricks and prayers, and the next thing you know, the other team's taking off on a fast break. So
that's true. So what are they gonna do? Are they gonna trade one of those? Well, both of those guys?
I doubt it. They just signed Christian Woods to an offer sheet. So Christian Woods, pretty athletic center. That's supposed to be our replacement for Andre Drummond, but he decided to split. So I think that they are going to get a little bit of length. Christian Woods got like a decent shot. He can hit the occasional 3. He can stretch the defense. So I think that they're going to try a modified version of their small ball.
Yeah, Houston. Yeah, I mean, I thought that was a good pickup for them. Was Christian Wood? Christian Wood is a good defender. He's a good defender.
That's only if Detroit doesn't match. Detroit can match.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
And I know they signed Boogie. With Boogie's on a he's trying to get back to himself. He's trying to get back to himself.
Boogie's on. Let me get on the roster and get these tenured years in, so I can get that pension. That's what he's on.
Well, I don't blame him.
I
don't blame him.
You need him.
Get that money.
Exactly.
But I mean, you pointed out, we got some new dogs per se that's going to be coming up in the Western Conference, and even in the Eastern Conference. I was telling somebody, I said, in the Pacific Division itself, in the Pacific Division, you got the Warriors, you got the Lakers, you got the Clippers, you got the Phoenix Suns, you got the Sacramento Kings. And to be real, 4 of those 5 teams can be legit playoff teams. I mean, even the Warriors at probably the bottom could mess around and make the playoffs. But that division is loaded. It's going to be a dogfight in the West this year. It's going to be a dogfight. But as you pointed out, I think the Lakers are way up here, and everybody else is like playing catch up or going to be playing
They
catch up
got
for the entire
2
season.
of the 5 best players in the world. That's all you need to know. And then they added hustle, skill, and championship pedigree
They got
And
2
toughness.
6 man of the years.
and toughness.
Former defensive player of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's almost like the rich got richer, man. It's gonna be. I think it'll be eventful to see who comes out of the Eastern Conference because it's up for grabs, just like it was last year. And then let's see who's the number 2 team behind the Lakers. It's not necessarily the Clippers because they lost all their luster when they lost that 3-1 lead. And I'm gonna keep harping on that because I know a couple of Clipper fans who just was all over, oh, the Clippers are gonna do this. And I say, listen, I get it, man. Y'all like Kawhi. But if KD doesn't get hurt, the Warriors are gonna dust the Raptors. I'm sorry. That wouldn't have been that's a 4-1.
it would have been over.
Yeah, I mean they win 3 in a row. But now he's proven he's not when it comes to going against the top dogs, and he's the top dog. He's not that guy. He lost to Jamal Murray and Jokic.
Yeah.
You make it sound like they trash.
Hey, man,
he's supposed to be the guy.
They was not
Kawhi's
supposed to lose to Denver.
Yeah,
they were not supposed to lose to Denver.
Kawhi was supposed to be the guy. He said, "I'm the second, third best player in the world." His commercials, everything was, "I'm coming for LeBron," and you lose Murray and Jokic.
You gotta rub it in.
At the end of the day, Kawhi still has 2 rings. At the end of the day,
I ain't mad at them 2 rings, but he better call Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, Danny Green, and all them buddies that helped him. And when he polished that second ring, he better say, you know what, Kevin Durant's Achilles is the reason, and then Klay Thompson got that knee injury because the Warriors were on their way to winning Game 6 before Klay went out.
No, they were.
They were on their way. It was going to be 7.
No, you're right because he is third quarter Klay for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he's a man of fortunate circumstance, and that's okay. A championship is a championship. But no, he is not one of the top 3 players in the world. No, that's KD, LeBron, and AD.
Yeah, I probably agree.
No. The MVP is not one of the top 3 players of the world. Wow.
No,
I've never thought that.
No.
You
gotta elevate your team. You gotta elevate your team when the money's on the line. When the money's on the line and you can't get your team at least to the finals, you can win all the MVPs you want to, or the MOPs, or whatever they call them. You can get all of them. But if you can't get your team to the finals, that's not you.
My thing
I got
is,
one.
I was about to say my thing is when the game is on the line and you got Chris Middleton going 1-on-1, that says it for me. I'm like, come on, man, Chris Middleton. Yeah, this game they ain't winning this. Like, so
I got a question. So who was the most undeserving 2-time MVP?
Steve Nash.
Yeah, I was about to. You know where I was going with that. You knew where I was going with that.
I know where you're going.
Who's the least deserve? Did he deserve one of those MVPs?
No.
You don't think he deserved one?
No, man. Listen, the year they gave.
Come on, man.
Listen, it's the same thing. Okay, let's be real. They can give it to LeBron every year, just like they could have gave it to Jordan every year. You know what I'm saying? Or at that time they could have given it to Shaq every year, but because they were trying to find somebody different, and because Phoenix had the best record in the league, they gave it to Steve Nash. Does anybody consider Steve Nash better than Shaq in Shaq's prime?
No.
Anybody?
No.
I mean,
and Kobe only did not make any sense to me.
And the only reason why Kobe got one is because of the incident that happened in Colorado. Let's just call it what it is. That's why they did him like that. That's why they did him that way. So
that's
nobody can say Steve Nash is one of the greatest players. Steve Nash isn't even Steph Curry. Steph Curry, we can understand. We can understand Steph Curry. Steve Nash, you led the league in assists and you scored 20 points a game. Then why you didn't give it to Jason Kidd? Why you didn't give it to Isaiah Thomas? Why you didn't give Allen Iverson more?
Yeah, Jason Kidd never really got his respect when he was in New Jersey, man. He carried them boys.
That's what I'm saying.
He carried them boys, and never, nobody ever talked about giving him an MVP at all.
Yeah, we can't take Steve Nash's MVPs away. But Steve Nash was never better than Shaq in a season. That's an insult that they didn't give it to Shaq. But that's only because they couldn't keep giving it to him. And that's okay.
Why
that's
not?
fine.
Why not? If he deserved it, why not?
The same reason why they couldn't keep giving it to Michael Jordan, because anybody thinks Charles Barkley had a better season than Michael Jordan at any point, anytime. I don't care what the Phoenix Suns record was.
Yeah.
Anybody
Or Karl Malone.
Or Karl Malone. I mean, they could have given it to Michael every single year. They got Michael fatigue. It's the same thing. They got Shaq fatigue, and they say, well, this little guy doing something they claim they never seen before. Although I don't get it, because Isaiah Thomas was doing that. He just wasn't doing it when they were winning, but Isaiah Thomas was doing the same thing that they gave Steve Nash the MVP award for. So sometimes this league and they voting is just it's confusing to me. Their criteria.
I mean, I understood why. I understood why Greek won it. I mean, Milwaukee had I think there was like the number 2 rated offense in the league, number 3 rated offense, number 2 rated defense, or something like that. He was defensive player of the year. All right. I mean, Greek had a crazy year. He had a crazy year. I get it, but I mean, we all know, if you watch basketball, we all know that Greek is not a top 5 player. We know that. He's definitely not that. And I mean, when you look at it, you're looking at ability, right? We're looking at the player talent and ability. And those players that you name, such as, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Anthony Davis, I mean, I throw in there Steph Curry, I throw in there, even Kawhi, those guys can play both sides of the ball at a high level and have literally no flaws. They have, very little or no flaws. Greek's problem is simply the same issue that, to me, and it's worse than it was, than LeBron, but it's the issue that LeBron had when he first came in the league, which LeBron couldn't shoot when he first came in the league. Thing is LeBron would take the shot and he made it enough to keep you honest. Greek can't make it at all. Like he gotta get something. He has to get something, man. Even if it's a little push shot, I don't know. Find a hook shot from 20 feet. I don't know. Just do something. But you gotta make something from 20 feet.
But he can't carry a team. That's the biggest issue with him. He can't carry a team. He in the regular season he is outstanding. But when it comes to elevating a team to that championship level, like LeBron can play with 4 Joes, and I think they'll get to the finals. And he proved that in 2016 with Cleveland.
Yeah,
when they had nobody.
Did.
He's not LeBron.
That's true. Don't think he ever will be. Now, I'll be the first person to say that I respect everything LeBron has done. I'm not going to say I'm a LeBron fan because I've never been on the LeBron bandwagon because I'm from Detroit. He used to just smoke us over in Cleveland. So I can't, with a good conscience, be sitting around there throwing LeBron pom-poms out. I was a Laker guy. Loved Kobe. So I love the Lakers. I'm glad they won a championship, but I can't say that I'm a LeBron fan.
Oh, I'm definitely with you.
Now, I'll appreciate him after he retires because I felt the same way about Larry Bird. But right now, while he's playing, can't stand LeBron. But love him as a player.
I'm Team Petty with LeBron because he left my Miami Heat, but I will recognize his talent.
What, the Miami Heat?
Well, we do cheat. You ain't gotta correct yourself. I accept the cheating, but when he was with the Heat, I loved him. He's not on the Heat no more, so I don't love him no more. So I'm still Team Petty. I still got hard feelings, although it's been almost 7 years, but I still have hard feelings about him leaving my team. But yeah, I recognize his talent. He's definitely the best player in the world, without a doubt. It's not even.
He definitely is. Even at his advanced age, I don't see LeBron really going on a major decline because the man takes care of his body. Is very strong-willed. Has a game plan. Pretty sure he had a lot of input on free agency. He was like, "Hey, man, Marc Gasol, he wouldn't mind coming down over here to South Beach. Why don't we go ahead and see if we can pick him up? You need me to take a pay cut? So I'm pretty sure LeBron facilitated that because Marc Gasol wasn't even on anybody's radar in terms of like going to the Lakers. The next thing you know, Marc Gasol pops up. Like, come on.
Man, Marc Gasol is there. Marc Gasol is there to play Jokic and Nurkic. That's what he did. He played the itch. He here to play the itch boys. That's all. That's
all it is.
That's it.
Hey, the Lakers said bully ball worked last year. Let's take it to a whole nother level, and got another big guy, in the paint, physical defensive player. And just like you said, he's there strictly for Jokic. You know,
Yeah.
I don't think Nurkic really gave him too many issues, but Jokic, oh yeah, he's there for he's there for Jokic.
He there to put that wood on Jokic, without a doubt.
So
Yeah,
before we get out of, I was say before we get out of here today, just what rookie are you looking forward to seeing this year? Which rookie are you looking forward to seeing this year? Why? And I don't want to. We'll wait to make some predictions for rookie of the year as a year. But what rookie are you looking forward to seeing? Will.
Tyrese Maxey with Philly.
Why? Okay. That's an interesting one. I didn't expect to hear Tyrese Maxey. What is it about him? He was at Kentucky.
He's in the perfect situation.
Okay.
He's in the perfect situation. There's no pressure on him. He's a talent. If you watch a couple of Kentucky,
finished. I'll be getting off in a couple of minutes.
If you watched a couple of Kentucky games last year, he was the go-to guy on that team, and now he's on a team where he's not asked to fill that role. I don't know if he's going to start over Seth Curry, but he's going to get chances when he's on the floor, because he's either going to be on the floor with Ben sometimes or on the floor with Joel Embiid. So, but I like his game. I like his athleticism. And I like his shot. He has the size. He can be a player in this league. I'm surprised he fell that far. I wish the Heat would have picked him, but I get it. You know, we got too many guards as is. So, but I like Tyrese Maxey, man. I'm really interested in seeing what he's going to do with Philly.
All right, what about you, Eric?
You can never have too many guards. First of all, I think this league has proved that. Killian Hayes was very glad that the Pistons picked somebody up who wasn't purely a rookie. So he's like a 6'5" point guard, about 200 pounds. Great international reputation, real good lateral quickness. Does need to improve on his defense just a little bit, but he's got the ability to hawk the passing lanes. He hustles. Like I said, he's got a decent enough jumper to make you honest. So I think that he should be starting for Detroit immediately, and I think that he is going to thrive under the mentorship of Derrick Rose.
Nice. Okay. You know, man. I wanted to do a splashy pick. I wanted to pick somebody that people didn't know about. You know what I'm saying? But I want to. I mean, because my first thing was Cole Anthony. I thought Cole Anthony. He was looking good in North Carolina and got hurt. And so we didn't. You know, he tried to kind of play it back, but we really got to see how bad North Carolina team was last year. And how much of a difference he made. So him going to Orlando, I think, you know, we'll see what he can do. But I'm looking forward to seeing LaMelo Ball. That's what I'm looking forward to seeing. You know, Jordan took him. You know, he has. I mean, his vision is great, man. That dude has good vision. He passes the ball well. You already pointed out the funky shot. I mean, his shot is kind of broke. But I really want to see if he's able to beat people off the dribble. Right? He's a 6'7" guard. He doesn't have the quickest step, but I just want to see how his game like translates to the NBA this season. You know, and see, you know, him on the side of Gordon Hayward. You know, he has a veteran there. I'm assuming that they're going to move Rozier to the shooting guard position or something. I'm not sure. Because I don't think you have LaMelo coming off the bench. I just don't think that. But I want to see what this kid can really do, man. Like, I'm excited. We saw Lonzo. Lonzo is a great defender, as you pointed out. He's a great defender. And he's a great passer too, man. He has. I mean, if you just kind of see what he was doing in New Orleans with the two young guys, I mean, he can pass the ball. And to think that LaMelo is better than this dude. I mean, I'm kind of here for it. I want to see what he does, man. It'd be good to see him kind of, you know, quiet the critics a little bit. You know,
so you think LaMelo and Gordon Hayward is going to be the pairing in Charlotte?
I don't know if that's going to be the pairing. I wait to see. I want to see if Jordan actually got it right for once, man. That's what I want to see. I want to see.
You won't see that this year. you know, because they got Graham. Graham can shoot.
Yeah.
You forgot about him.
I didn't forget about Graham. Graham.
All right.
But That's what I'm saying. I feel like Jordan is trying to make some good moves.
Oh yeah.
He got some young players. I think he got some players that can run and get out in transition. And I think he got a point guard who can who can make that work. I think he got somebody who can make that work. I don't know if it's going to translate to.
I don't think Rozier gonna give up that point guard spot just quite that easily.
Man, I mean, you might be right. I just, I heard the trade rumors of Rozier getting moved. We'll see if it happens, but I want to see what he can do, man. I want to put some guys around him that can run and just see if he can make some magic happen. That's it.
Michael Jordan was a great player. He's been a horrible executive. I'm leaving it right there.
Definitely.
And say good night.
Nobody's going to disagree with that one. He's been terrible.
He's been a horrible executive, but he was a great player. Nothing against him. Just saying.
All right. Y'all want to let us know what y'all got going this week? Eric, what you got going for this week? Hold on. Let's add him to the stream. There you go.
Yep, there you go. As far as what's going on this week, well, the Ear Hustling podcast is on a hiatus until the beginning of the year. I've been popping on from time to time, just talking about the political climate, talking about stuff. I'm not going to get into the political conversation here, but one thing that I can say is that I'm very, very happy with the results of the election, and I'm glad that we're going to have something a little different.
You and me both. I appreciate it. Will, what you got going on this week, man?
Man, I'm going to do a Thanksgiving show, giving thanks for everything that I enjoyed that's been great to me in my life, the podcast and sports, and probably some other things. Probably like Eric, definitely review the election. I'm not going to hold back and just say, yeah, I'm ecstatic. I'm glad that dude gone. So I might go in and be really, really happy that he's gone and that it's certified, and let's just go ahead and get this buddy up out of here. But that's it, man. I'm going to try to break down those games that's coming on Thursday, but man, Houston, Detroit, and Dallas and Washington is just not going to do it for me.
It's tradition. It's tradition. We know that the Lions don't deserve to be on. Well, no, actually, yes, they do. They've been playing Thanksgiving since 1930.
Yeah, I love the Lions on. The Lions let me know when it's time to eat. When that game goes off, that means it's time to eat.
It's time to eat. It's time to
yeah.
eat.
If you're from Detroit, then you know it's time to eat as the game is being played. Usually the entertaining game. Usually I can count on the Cowboys to be very entertaining during their Thanksgiving game because they have the other Thanksgiving game going. So you usually just it's food's ready? Great. We eat during the Lions game and then you get comfortable to watch the Cowboys. That's the way it usually works.
Got it.
Well, sadly, both teams are kind of bad this year. So
they suck. But the Cowboys still have a chance to make the playoffs. But the Cowboys are bad, baby. Yes. Let me be cool because I think I did good. I didn't just get bullied.
Y'all be easy, man. Good talking to you guys.
Man, everybody, thank y'all for coming on. Have a happy Thanksgiving. And everybody, y'all have a happy Thanksgiving. We missed Mr. BS3 this week, but he'll be back next Monday. So y'all have a good one. Peace.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Stay safe.
Yes, sir.